Love of the Invisibles, How Ash Found Violet 31, copyrighted 2015. For 2 months, Ash and Violet stayed with Aunt Hermina, Mel, Setrak, and Melsik. It was a good thing, too, because it took all the hands available to take care of the twins. Violet recovered very soon after her delivery, having 3 personal healers in the house. Mel and Aunt Hermina made sure she had all necessary nutrients and herbs, and Ash made sure all her energy was right for her physical healing. Violet never felt happier. She had family who loved and cared for her. She had a husband she loved and twins she adored. Life was finally smiling at her. Norik was back at the lakes, but he was in constant communication with his sister and brother-in-law. And Hunter and Amber decided to extend their honeymoon, so they were island hopping in Hawaii. Having full-time babysitters in the house more than eager to take care of the twins, Ash and Violet had a chance to spend time together, visit places and shop. They set up to spend a weekend camping in the Sequoia National Park. It was their first time alone since they vacationed in Alaska. It was Ash's first time visiting the forest of the giant trees as well as Violet's, so once they set up camp and had breakfast that they made on a grill, they drove to explore the area. They saw enormous trees, some so wide that a tunnel was dug out through it and cars would pass through. They marveled at the world's largest tree, the General Sherman tree. Then they visited the crystal caves and took the guided tour. Finally, they were together alone in the wilderness with no invisible around. After a day of adventure, they returned to their camp to set up a campfire and make a barbecue. They talked and joked and laughed and kissed under the starry sky. They felt so free, with no obligations, deadlines, threats, or inconveniences. The tent was a cozy one for 2. Ash made sure to bring every accommodation necessary for them to have a warm and comfortable good night's sleep. But the couple ended up not getting so much sleep, so they made love over and over. They were so hungry for each other that Ash confessed that he couldn't wait for the evening to spend intimate time with Violet. Violet had been deprived of intimacy for a long time. Having children around took all her attention and time, day and night, even when she had so much help. Ash spent some time away for business, and they did not have much intimacy, although emotionally they were closer than ever. Having no one around, Ash was not cautious to raise his full energy to awaken Violet's senses. She had already aroused his feelings with her tantalizing energy. Just being around her was enough for Ash. They didn't spend much time caressing, since passion took a full flare once their energy attracted and combined with each other. Kisses became more intense. Soon they became breathless, but hungry for more. Ash felt Violet permeating a new type of energy that was driving him insane with desire. "Oh, my sweet, it is too much. I can't wait any longer," he told her breathlessly as he combined his body with hers. Violet was ready to receive him, her full senses on the rise. They felt in a whirlwind of electricity with each ion circulating around their body and adding more pleasure to their love-making. Violet drifted into a trance, absorbing Ash's energy with every cell of her body and transmitting it back, magnified with hers. Ash felt floating in a newly discovered electromagnetic field as he opened his eyes to an amazing sight. Violet's skin was glowing with luminous colors of blue, violet, and pink. Her iridescence has lit Ash's body that was moving harmoniously on top of hers, readily absorbing all the offerings she was able to present. She was starting to move faster, gaining more energy as she held the lower part of Ash's back tight, pinned to her body. Ash felt her heavy breathing on his face as she cried her release, sending microelectrical shocks through his body that spread all over him, triggering a tantalizing pleasure. This was something completely new. Ash has never experienced anything like this, but was amazed that his body was able and ready to receive it. "More, I want more," he heard Violet say. "Don't stop." It was an order, and he eagerly complied. Their love-making continued for some time, each segment ending with Violet's release, each one more wild, and tantalizing until Ash could not hold anymore as he gave in to his pleasure. They laid intertwined together for some time until the luminescence around Violet slowly faded away, giving way to relaxed breathing. They woke to constant chirping of birds, which made the tall redwood trees their home. They lazed around in their roomy sleeping bed for a while before the urge to eat drove them out of the tent. Ash had kept all the food supplies in the back of his brother's trunk, so the bears would not find it. Plus, they have camped away from the river, knowing that bears frequented that part of the forest more often. When they looked around their camp, though, they saw numerous bear tracks, but none close to their tent or the truck that was parked nearby. Must have been the unusual lights and the energy around it that kept the bears away, Ash joked as they spoke about the bears. What lights? Violet asked. Never mind, Ash told her. The less Violet concentrated on her bioluminescence, the more she would subconsciously allow it to happen during their lovemaking, and Ash had enjoyed that. You know I can read your thoughts, right? Violet teased him. It was still very early in the morning, but they decided to climb up the stairs to the Moro Rock before the sun will make the day too hot. They have gotten enough photosynthesis in their body from the previous day, minus the energy lost during their adventure at night, so a little morning sunlight was just what they needed. The parking at the Moro Rock was empty, and they were happy that they had the whole rock to themselves. They started slow, climbing the stairs up the rocky mountain, enjoying the tall trees surrounding the area and the fluffy squirrels that went about their business at the break of the day. The sun was very low on the horizon, and the lower parts of the rock were still shady, but the peak was glistening with light. Ash and Violet climbed higher and higher, one following the other, since in some parts of the stairs was wide enough for only one person. There were flat parts to stop and rest, and they did just that. What is it? Ash asked Violet as he felt that she's communicating with someone. It's my uncle, Violet said. The communication channel is so open up here. He sends his love, but he told me that he has a job for me. Oh, Ash was curious. He told me that I can do it right now if I'm ready, she said, amazed. What kind of a job? Ash was curious as he was concerned. Just a moment, Violet said, concentrating on her conversation with her Uncle Harry. After a little while, she explained Ash what was expected from her. She was to receive, direct, and transfer the energy that she originally extracted from Karahunj to all over the world. Uncle Harry was explaining that the city people had somehow found out about their energy arsenal and that they were close to discovering its location. It's an emergency, Violet explained. Uncle Harry said that the council members have physically met together, which is a rare occasion, and that they have contracted a plan to send me the energy bit by bit from each battery for me to transmit them to the invisible net and to energy rooms all around the world. And how are you going to do this? Is this safe? Ash was concerned for his wife's safety. Don't worry, Ash. For a while, Uncle Harry had been testing my ability to connect to the Earth's main points of the energy field at its poles. I have tried and I succeeded many times. I think I have found a way to reopen the invisible net. They would manage to transfer the energy to me, and I can direct it to the invisible net where it would circulate and be accessible to all the invisibles in their areas of habitat, and they would be able to extract it in small amounts at a time. In other words, the energy would become a part of us. Each invisible would receive that energy and use it for the benefit of their biological functions. Uncle Harry said that chances are that it would integrate in invisibles enough to be passed through generations, as it will constantly circulate through the invisible net, regenerating itself. It is safe too, since no one would be able to extract it more than their body can handle. But you can, Ash said. Yes, but you know how it will end. It can hurt me and people around me, unless I have a support system like you and my brother at my side. I will not go through that again. Ash held her hand. Why didn't you tell me about this before? Ash asked, more concerned than offended. I didn't want you to be worried. Plus, I didn't think anything will come out of it. I thought it is my uncle's hobby to test my abilities, but now I see that it could be put to a good use. Ah, just a moment. She communicated telepathically for some time and then told Ash, It's Norik. He's with him. Since we have such a close connection, he will try to transfer that energy to me and I will filter it to the main energy line. He's asking if I am ready. She seemed to release some energy, which meant communication with others. We don't have time to lose, she said. Let's get to the top of the rock. It took them less than 5 minutes to climb the rest of the stairs, since they had started upwards while Violet was telepathically communicating with her uncle and brother. Once on the top, she asked Ash to stand by. I might be deeply engaged. This will take some time. I have to transfer all of the energy, otherwise it will be dangerous. Please don't touch me or disturb me. Those were her last words before she found a place of balance to stand and closed her eyes. Ash stepped back, but stood close enough to come to Violet's aid if it deemed necessary. He felt the glowing energy around her as she stood straight, concentrated at her task. Unlike the other times when Violet was in a similar situation, she did not show signs of bioluminescence. At least Ash did not see any lighting around her skin, or could it have been the rays of the sun that prevented him to see any change on Violet's skin? He did not know. Her breathing was steady and it seemed that she was in control. Ash knew that she was able to hear him and she was aware of her surroundings, but she chose not to communicate with him to keep her concentration intact. Nevertheless, it was comforting to know that Violet was in charge of the situation this time. It took some time for Violet to open her eyes. The sun had come up higher on the horizon, and Ash felt the strong rays on his skin. Ash? She turned to him, completely relaxed and content with herself. Violet, he said, can I touch you now? Yes, she answered, but he could feel the exhaustion in her voice. It's done. When he held her, he felt the weight of her body, understanding how much it was strained from the enormous work she had done channeling all that energy through it to the designated circuit. Good girl, he said. I'm so proud of you. He removed the water bottle from his backpack, opened the lid and gave it to her. Here, have some. She impatiently gulped the water, realizing how thirsty she was. She emptied the whole content of the water bottle. Let's get you down, Ash said, slowly walking her towards the stairs. He noticed that there were few cars parked at the parking lot below. Soon city people would be visible at the base of the rock. Then he had an idea. Let me try this, he said, and locked his lips with hers, channeling as much energy as he could to her. She took a deep breath as her eyes opened wide. How was that? Feeling more energized? Yes, surprisingly, she said, smiling. So we can go down. Enjoying the view in different light, Ash said, holding her hand as they went down the stairs, along the moral rock. I'm so happy, Violet said, as they kept moving. She had since had a confirmation from Norik and Uncle Harry that all had worked well. Now no one can claim the energy in its entirety, as it would be soon spread all around through invisibles, and some will even be stored in the net for future use. At the end, every one of us will benefit and no one can exploit it for any sinister use. That's my little angel. Ash squeezed her hand. Once we're down the rock, do you think we can have a good fat lunch in a restaurant? Violet asked. I'm sure we can find one around here. I think the visitor center has a restaurant. We can try there, Ash answered.